Hey folks, this is Regalia N Chill with a new deck profile from tonight's tournament at Atlantic City ARG. We have
Justin
Klinger, right?
Yes.
He actually just top-8'd the event with 48 people, 6 rounds in Swiss, and what was your end record?
End record was 3-1-1.
All right. And so what were you playing?
I was playing Gill Alhama'at, control.
All right.
Mid-range control.
All right. Well, that sounds really interesting. Let's break it down. Just tell me what it's about.
A little bit. Gill Alhama'at. He's a ruler, pays 0. Judgment if you have 7 or more mana counters. He has energized black-white and mana 1. You start the game with a mana counter, and you can use those for what are called ancient magic cards. They're chant standbys that have a special card type. They're really strong, but his big ability is Resonance, Lightstone, or Darkstone. Put a mana counter on him, so he's self-sufficient. He's just able to gather up more mana over time.
And you're not really focusing on like flipping them at all. You're just kind of abusing.
No. I flipped them maybe once or twice throughout the whole tournament. I used his mana counters for all the spells in the deck.
Okay, gotcha.
Let's go to the stones real quick. We have 4 Ancient Magic Stone.
I don't know place it serves.
So it enters the battlefield tapped unless you play 300 or if your ruler is Gill Alhama'at. So it's his dual stone. It counts as a black stone or a white stone for typing, and it produces black or white naturally. If you remove a mana counter off of your J ruler, he can add any color. So I have 4 of these. 3 Magic Stone of Ebonhelm. I chose this over the basic black redstone because its enter ability works well with a lot of the resonators I have, and I just think it's really strong in general. It enters and removes the top card of your opponent's deck from the game.
And that's just gas sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of the times you just hit the card they need, or one of the matches I had against Kaguya, I hit a kimono, so they couldn't win the game off of just playing kimonos.
Wow, yep.
And then just 3 Magic Stone of Heaven's Rift, basic white-black stone. Alright, so for the main deck, I'll go with the spells. I played 3 Lapis Darkstorm. It is a control deck, and this card just allows you to net so much value over time. You just have more cards than your opponent.
Yep, I mean, 3's the magic number.
Yeah, I didn't play any playsets in my deck. I felt like I didn't need to, and I was able to find more consistent answers. Next card is Unending Hatred, has 3 of. This card blew my mind when I got a chance to actually play it. So, you choose one. If you control a black resonator and a resonator, J resonator, I'm sorry, you can destroy all 1-drops, 1 cost of resonators or less, or look at your opponent's hand and discard it. You tell them to discard it.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's in Magic it's a Thought Seize. It's again a really strong card, very good ability.
No, yeah, that's definitely a good card.
Next card is the 2 Dragon Princesses. Now this card is acted like Space-Time Anomaly. Same effect with this, black-white resonators. Choose one or you get both if you have 2 of them.
Yep.
Target J resonator gets -5/-5, or you put +5 +1/+1 counters on a creature.
So where's the space-time effect going? Because you're just
You get
minusing everything?
Yeah, you give it's kind of like spot removal, -5/-5 to something.
Yeah.
I might be cutting this in the future. It wasn't as good as I wanted it to be.
Yeah, probably sided a lot.
Yeah, I was mostly casting for free with Nyarlathotep, but I'll get to that creature in a minute. Next is Swirling Demon Dimension. 3 mana, quick cast, spot removal. Just exile a creature from the game. Really good card, honestly. I might add more of those by cutting some of these. Next up is Erasure. 4 mana, Ancient Magic. This card, it kills J rulers, resonators, additions, Regalia, anything that's not a stone.
How much do you usually use for magic counters on that card? Do you use the full 4?
Sometimes I've used the full 4. Again, I've never really flipped him to try and hit people with him, but You can use your mana counters freely, and I usually use them for 3 or 4.
So gaining mana counters with him is like super abusable. So
Exactly.
you're just always able to play shit for free.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Next up is 2 Lumia's Judgment.
Yep.
Another card that overperformed.
Persia?
I actually didn't face any Prisia this tournament.
Oh, wow.
I faced Feetsing's Gwyber Turbo. I faced another Gill deck, and a Lumia, and some other aggro decks, but not any Prisia.
Yeah, because mostly it's used for Regalia and
Yeah.
control and just...
Like, I
know.
faced Val 2 at the end of the tournament,
Oh,
and
okay,
I
yeah.
exiled all the Regalia.
I can see where that's going, so...
Yeah, it was a good card. Very, very strong. I'd keep it at 2, though. It's nice balance there. Next up, Ancient Knowledge. I don't play any Bluestones, I just use it for the mana counters to cast it. This card is... Honestly, it wins me games. I was able to search the top 5 cards of my library, pick 2 of them, and add them to my hand. And put the rest on the bottom. It's quick cast speed, so you can just do it on your opponent's turn if you need to search for something. Really good card. I'm gonna probably up it to 3 or 4. Black Moonbeam. I mean, there's not really much to talk about this. This card destroys a J-Ruler and it can't be chased. So you can't play any cards in response to it.
With the upcoming meta now, are you think, one's stable enough, or would you try to move it to 2? I mean, this deck can search probably, but...
Yeah, I run one search card for it, but...
I know Scythe and Moonbeam are just going to be really heavy.
Yeah, I think the
main-wise.
upcoming meta is going to be something along the lines of Prisia, Feetsing still going to be around. So Black Moonbeam's going to be really strong against Prisia and any J-Ruler that likes to flip. I might up it, but I don't know, honestly. I have to see what's going on with the rest of the meta. Interdimensional Escape. Deal with Gwyber Turbo decks. You can board wipe anything that swarms the board. Mm-hmm. It's a good removal spell.
Yep.
No. Rune of Soul. This is the search card for any Ancient Magic in your deck. 2 mana, red, blue, Ancient Magic, so you can cast it all for your mana counters.
So just letting everyone know, I believe you're using the Alhama'at Stone to cast all these different colored cards.
For the blue cards that I run, in particular these 3, I'm just using the mana counters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can use the stone to remove a mana counter anyway.
It produces for any color, gotcha.
Yeah, it produces for any color Ancient Magic.
I'm used to the old ones where it's just...
Like Mars Mercurius.
Yeah, either red or blue, so...
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cover that up for me.
But this searches your deck for any Ancient Magic, quick cast speed, so you can search your deck for, like, Black Moonbeam, Ancient Knowledge, Erasure. Any of these cards are really good targets. Next we have Alhama'at's Black Lightning. This is a 2-mana Ancient Magic chant. It can't be canceled, so Seal of Wind and Light, Wall of Wind, Millennial Bond, none of those cards will work on this. Even breeze counters on Maria Bella. It destroys a non-darkness resonator, and it has an awakening of 4 mana. If you awaken it, you add it back to your hand instead of putting it to the graveyard. Again, really good spot removal. I've used the awakening a couple times in a game. It's just good. A lot of these valuable spells. Excuse me. 1 World Flame Summoning. It's a 6-mana Ancient Magic. It has 4 abilities. You can choose 2 of them. Your opponent banishes a special magic stone, so they sacrifice it and send it to the graveyard.
Yep.
Deal 800 damage to your opponent's board. Deal 800 damage to your opponent, or 1,500 damage to a J-Ruler. So, I've used this card to kill Valentina and Prisia. Also a good card against Gwyber Turbo. You deal 800 to the whole board. It kills Adam Brawley's, Tokens, Guinevere's, Ruck Eggs.
Yeah, no, that's kind of crazy. How much damage you can deal to everything.
And I mean, it's reach too. You can just get that extra 800 to your opponent. Last up for the spells, 2 Schrodinger's Observation. Choose 1. This card deals 400 damage to a Resonator per X. Black-white X is the cost. And then you gain that much life. Or you deal 300 damage to target player and gain that much per X.
So you say multiply, so if you don't pay X, it's just 0.
Exactly. So if you pay just black-white, you deal 0 damage and gain 0 life.
Alright, remember that, folks.
I've cast this card for 10 mana, so I've gained
Gain 4,000?
not exactly 4,000, pretty
Oh,
close.
it's 3,000. My bad.
Yeah, it's 3,000.
My bad. The damage is 4 for resonators.
Wins games. This the one of the
Alternate win
MVP
condition,
cards. Yeah.
right there by itself.
Next up are the creatures. I ran a lot more creatures than some of the other guild decks. I felt like I can control the board with the spells and just have the creatures get in for damage.
All right, guys.
3 Pandora, the Goddess of Light and Dark. She's just black-white 5/7, so the stats are pretty decent. Whenever this card attacks, you force 1, so you roll a die, and whatever that number you roll is, your opponent loses life times 100. And then whenever it blocks, you gain life times 100 for the force.
That's like setting quite the LP difference just with that one card alone.
Yeah, honestly, it depends on how you roll. I've rolled 1s, I've rolled 6s, but I've gotten anywhere from 6 to 1,100 damage with this card.
Yeah, make sure you play your 7-11 games, guys. Get yourself prepped for force. A mechanic that probably shouldn't exist in this game. It's too random. I don't know. It's good, but it's
random numbers are fun though.
You're right. It has a little bit of zest.
Oh yeah. Next up, 3 Nyarlathotep, the Crimson Radiance.
Oh wow. Yeah, explain this one.
So it has limit 1, so it enters the battlefield with a limit counter. Whenever it attacks or blocks, you remove the limit counter. If you have 0 limit counters, it adds itself back to hand. It has 2 awakening abilities. First of all, it's a 2-mana 7/7. That's really strong. Just base stat wise, it's really strong. But the fact that you can only attack or block with it once means that I feel like it's balanced in that regard. Awakening White, you can exile. I believe it's just a creature.
Yeah, it's just a creature.
Just a creature. I didn't cast this card much, to be honest.
Gotcha.
But for its white ability, I should say. You can target a creature and exile it. When this card leaves the battlefield, you put that creature back. It's kind of like Oblivion Ring in Magic. Or you can pay red to, when it enters the battlefield, you can cast a 3-drop or less red or white spell from your hand. So I'm able to cast that Pact card. Just some of the highlights that I used this card with. And where is it? You're able to cast those cards for 1 mana.
No, that's pretty nice. Even though I don't know if I would cast the interdimensional escape, but I'm like, yeah, you can keep your Nyarlathotep on board.
Yeah, exactly. If this is the only one, you can cast this and wipe their whole board essentially.
Yeah.
A lot of the nice plays was play this on turn 2, turn 3 play that, and play this card. You're able to put 5+1/+1 counters on Pandora, and then remove a creature essentially. Then attack for 1,000 and roll the dice.
That's awesome.
That's it for that. My personal favorite resonator of the deck, Valentina, the Twilight Passion.
I like her too.
Yeah.
Explain.
So it has a lot of text.
Well, explain why you like her and what you're using her for.
So, depending on how far back people have looked, maybe in the Wanderer format, this card kind of acts like Carmilla, the vampire. It enters the battlefield and it exiles a resonator that costs 2 or less from the game. Whenever this card deals damage to a resonator and it dies, it exiles it. You can pay 0. These next abilities are activatable at any time. Pay 0 mana. Take a card from your opponent's exile, put it to the bottom, give it swiftness or precision. So if you want both, you need to put 2 back. Then it has another ability, pay 0, put 3 back, and it gains +5/+5 until end of turn. A lot of the times with Lumia's Judgment, all these cards that exile, Swirly Demon Dimension.
It's not too hard.
Yeah, it's not too hard to get the cards you need to do
and
that.
you can use both effects on her, right? If you have 4, you can just go 1 and then 3.
Yeah, like for instance, I had 10 removed from my opponent.
Yeah.
I was able to play her, give her swiftness, and then put 9 cards back to give her +15/+15, swing for 2,400.
Gotcha.
Really strong card, MVP of the deck, honestly. It's good against mid-range decks. I was able to target attack Wybers off the board. It was, best card.
No, I like it too.
Going to one of the cards that didn't really do much, but I really liked it, the Dark March Hare. One thing to note, he is a light and a darkness stone, So he acts like one of these when it enters for Gill Alhama'at. You get a mana counter when he enters. He has resonance abilities of his own. Resonance is whenever a land enters the battlefield. Get X thing. Light Magic Stone, if it enters, you give your board +1/+1 until end of turn. And if a Dark Stone enters, you give your opponent's board -1/-1 until end of turn.
It's worth the combo, and then he just reacts on himself being summoned, right?
Exactly, so you get both when he enters.
Gotcha.
So a lot of the times I just cast him, kill elves. If I had 2 of them, play both of those, kill Tamas, get 2 magic mana counters. Or even just cast him, call a stone, kill Tamas.
Gotcha. Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
But it seems like you play a lot of expensive like resonators. Like everything's
Yes.
either 3 or 4.
I don't think I played any one. Nah, I didn't play any 1-drops in the main board.
And that was fine. You're just using most of the time your spells just to like deal with the turn 1 and turn 2 plays.
Exactly. A lot of these aggro decks like to go first. So if you go second, you get your Energize and a mana counter. So you have 2 mana right off the bat. If they try to flip on turn 1, you can just Black Moonbeam with just the mana and the Energize.
True. No, that makes sense.
Next up are the one-off creatures. Rachel. She has flying. She's a 3-mana 7/7 with Resonance, Darkness Stone. So when a Darkness Stone enters the battlefield, also works with this guy. It's really nice. Destroy target Resonator. Total cost 2 or less. And then if your J Ruler, your J Ruler has mana, put a mana counter on it. So you get it off a Dark March Hare, your stones. They all give that ability, and it all pluses on mana as well.
Gotcha.
I cast this card maybe once. I wanted to add more of it. It's just a one-of, but I feel like it's a lot better than the Dark March Hare and Nyarlathotep. Also, when it enters the battlefield, I forgot it existed. Put target demon with total cost 1 or less from your graveyard to the field.
Oh yeah. It's good, but it's random.
Yeah, exactly. Next up, another really good card, Blazer, Prisoner of Flame.
I like this. This reminds me of the old Blazer. Like
Exactly, yeah.
Except it's not getting removed. It's so close, but it's a little more pricey, I guess. And if you're playing against decks that do remove from the game, he's probably not gonna continuously come out all the time. But
And I mean, I had a game where this thing kept going to the graveyard because they kept spot removing it, so I just keep bringing it back, swing for 1,000, bring it back, swing for 1,000. This card can win just games by itself. Flying Swiftness, 4 mana, 1,000.
Yep.
At the end of the turn, either put a card from your opponent's removed area to the bottom of their deck, or sacrifice this. And then it has an ability, and while it's in graveyard, pay 6 mana, put them from graveyard to field. Then you can just attack with them.
All right.
Last up for the main board, One Horn. I'm a control deck. If I'm facing another control deck, I want to be able to have more cards than them.
Gotcha.
So I can just shuffle my removal spells and all that back into the deck and keep going from there. And then 2 Death Scythe. I did expect Priscia.
We all did.
Yeah, I thought Val 2. This was very helpful against that.
That's it. The old threat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it for the main board.
If you want, you can just go over it quick, just what you use for your sideboard.
Yeah, I mean, I played every card in my sideboard. Class G tank, I'll show you my one-ofs. Another Death Scythe, another Black Moonbeam. Valentina's Reach for the mirror match. I don't want to have less cards than my opponent. Another Rune of Soul to search Black Moonbeam or Steam Explosion. It's just like another Schrodinger's Observation, except you can use your mana counters for it.
Gotcha.
Random card, Final Forfeit. I wanted to make sure I didn't lose the Fox. Fox was going to be one of those decks that I wasn't really prepared for. So with Final Forfeit, I'm able to just make Fox lose the ability to be destroyed, and then Black Moonbeam. 2 Barrier Shadow, Priscia Dex, Valentina. 3 Ancient Heartfell Fire. Really good for killing Guinevere, Sacred Elf. Also gives you 3 mana counters if you're not gonna kill any resonators with it. And the last but not least, 3 Abdul. Fox, enter the battlefield effects. I use this against Lumia, and I didn't have to deal with Captain Hook.
Gotcha. All right. And like you said, your worst matchup was?
I honestly want to say my worst matchup was Guiber Turbo. I didn't have enough spot removal to deal with all the Guibers.
All right. And what would you recommend in the future for changes, or would you recommend anyone to play this deck? Do you think it's going to be good?
Yeah, I think this deck is going to. I don't want to say shape it. I think Gill's going to shape the meta.
All right. Well, that's a great ending to it. I would like to thank you again for telling us what you ran, and it's probably going to improve in the future. The more you get to play test, the more you get to see the meta shape.
Of course.
This has been Regalia N Chill with another deck profile. I hope you guys can check out more, like, comment, subscribe, and thanks again.